Santulan yoga. For today's class, we'll be looking at Svadhyaya or self-study. So in this class, we'll be slowing down and really thinking about how these poses and postures are feeling within our own body. We'll start by sitting on the mat, legs outstretched in front of you. You can bring the hands behind to relax the back a little. And we'll just start by, as we inhale, just reaching our toes upwards. And as we exhale, curling the toes over. Just to a comfortable curl so that the soles of the feet aren't cramping at all. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Once more, inhaling and exhaling. Right, bringing the ankles into it now as well. So as we inhale, bending through the ankles, drawing the feet and the toes back towards the body. And exhale, just a slight point in the feet, bringing the soles of the feet down to the mat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale. Now rotating through the feet. So both feet, both ankles rotating a few times in one direction. And then switching. Pausing there. Now we'll bring both of our hands underneath our right side and draw the knee and the heel in. Inhale as we extend the lower leg and the arms. Exhale as we draw the leg in.
Self-study is often what brings people to yoga. Yoga offers one path of knowing yourself a bit more, understanding your compulsions and habits, and moving towards a higher, clearer version of yourself.
Once more. Sticking with this leg, we'll bring the right hand around the knee, left hand around the foot, and we'll just start to rotate through that hip. So just a few rotations in one direction, and then switching the direction, making sure the rotation is coming from the hip. Pausing there, switching legs, so bring both hands underneath the left thigh, draw the knee and the heel in. Inhale as we extend the lower leg. Exhale, drawing in. So these simple practices of warming up the joints in the body are a really great way of knowing how your body is actually feeling today. It can be quite surprising what you discover about your body when you do these Muktasana exercises. Once more. And left hand onto the knee, right hand on the sole of the foot, and start rotating through that hip. Once more this way, and then we'll change directions. All right, pausing there. Bring the soles of the feet together, draw the heels in as close as you feel comfortable. Sitting up on the sit bones, growing nice and tall through the spine, lifting up and out of the waistline, Shoulders, neck and head nice and relaxed. And all we're going to do is we're just going to flutter our knees and our thighs up and down a few times, like our legs are the butterfly wings in this Baddha Konasana posture. Again, just noticing how those legs are feeling today, the hips, the knees, the ankles, and pausing there. And this time, changing the concentration and just using the thigh muscles, encouraging those knees down to the floor, not putting any pressure with your arms, just using the leg muscles themselves.
As one of the niyamas, Svadhyaya tells us that self-study is not optional, it's a requirement.
One more breath. And now you can stay in this position if you like, or you can change by crossing the legs, coming into an easy seat. And bring the arms up to shoulder height, palms down. As we inhale, extend through the fingers. Exhale, making a soft fist. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale. Rotating through the wrists now. Slower is better with this one. Quite often be a few clicks and cracks through the wrists here. And going in reverse. Pausing there, extend the fingers. Inhale, point the fingertips up to the ceiling. Exhale, point the hands and fingers down to the floor. So trying to make a nice smooth movement through here. It's not too jerky. Once more. And bring the palms back to neutral. Rotate the arms and the hands, palm face up. And bring the fingertips to touch the shoulders. Inhale, extend the lower arms. Exhale, bring through the elbows, bring the fingertips to touch the shoulders. Once more. And keeping the fingers where they are, now we'll draw our elbows together. Bring it up alongside the head, back down and around. So again, you can make this movement as small or as large as you like. Depending on how tight your shoulders are, will depend on how big or small you want these circles to be. Once more this way. And going in reverse, bring the elbows back, up alongside the head, and elbows together in front of the chest. Once more. All right, bring the hands back down to the knees. And this time as we inhale, lifting our chin, looking up to the ceiling. As we exhale, gently and smoothly bring the chin down to the chest. Inhale. Exhale.
A lovely side effect
Inhale.
of yoga is that you get to know yourself better.
And exhale.
You get to know your body as you move.
Bring the hair back to neutral. This time drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Back to center, left ear to left shoulder.
You get to know yourself as you rest in stillness. You get to know your mind as you meditate. We'll spend more time in silence and make even more space for the practice of Svadhyaya, self-study.
Once more to each side. And head back to center. This time we'll turn the head, look over the right shoulder. Back to center. Turn the head, look over the left shoulder. Once more to each side. And back to center. All right, now we'll come down to our tummies. So however way you want to get there. And we'll bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. And then walk those elbows a little further forward and laying the chest down a little further forward. And we'll bring palms of the hands underneath the chin. And then from here, you can make any adjustments that you need till you get comfortable. Legs are long along the mat. And making sure that your back muscles, your glute muscles, and your leg muscles are slightly engaged. Protect that. If the back is a little bit sore, do feel free to bend through the knees and draw the heels up and into the body. This takes any pressure off the back.
As we come back again into this pose, check in with your mind. What are your assumptions about this pose? What are your assumptions about its ease or challenge? What conversation is your mind having in the background as you move?
One more breath. And if the heels are up, laying the heels down, releasing the hands from the chin, and bring the elbows back underneath the shoulders. So elbows directly underneath the shoulders, forearms and palms down on the mat. And grabbing a block, bring the block in towards you and replace the forehead down on the block.
In these moments of rest, yoga doesn't stop. It's here that yoga begins. This conversation with yourself is the practice, and it's the most important part of the practice. You're here to learn something about yourself.
One more breath here. And lifting the head, placing the block off to one side, and bring our hands underneath our shoulders, lifting up into a tabletop position. From here, if you can, we'll try to sit down with our bottom onto our heels. If that's not possible, we'll place a block in between the legs for us to sit down on. But ideally, knees out wide. And our bottom coming down onto the feet or onto the block. Bring our hands down to the mat, rotate the fingers so that they're pointing inwards towards the body. If this position isn't comfortable, then do feel free to bring the knees together. Come a little further forward. Spine elongated, nice and straight. The head tilting back ever so slightly. And you should feel a nice stretch through these forearms here. We'll pause here for a few breaths. One more breath here. And this time, with our exhale, I want you to make a ah kind of sound like this. Ah. And I really want you, as you do this, I want you to poke your tongue out. And with the eyeballs looking up to the ceiling, and I want you to really stretch out through the face. So we'll take one slow, deep breath, deep down. We'll do this 3 times. Inhaling. And once more. Close the eyes, relax the face. Pause here for a moment. Take a few breaths. And slowly release the arms. Give the arms a little shake. That stretch can be quite intense through the wrists and the forearms. Bring the legs back together if they're not already. And we'll just come up into a tabletop position. Move the blocks away if you had some blocks. So wrists and arms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. As we inhale, looking forward with the head, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly down to the mat. Exhale, dropping the head down, rounding through the spine.
Pushing those ribs up to the ceiling.
Just with your own breathing and your own timing. Just a few rounds of cat. Once more. And pausing in neutral there. And now we'll come over to sit down. And bring the soles of our feet together again. Bring our hands behind, and we'll start to lower the body down onto the mat. So you can either have your arms on your belly, or you can let the arms roll away, whichever you prefer. And just feeling into this position, notice how the back and the hips, the knees and the ankles are feeling. Letting the weight of the legs press themselves down towards the floor.
As you settle into rest, soften your face and jaw. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Take a slow, deep, full breath in. And as you exhale, open your mouth and sigh. Move inward, release.
One more breath. And bring the hands down to the outside of the thighs, assisting the legs with coming back up to the center, and then stretching each leg long along the mat. Let the arms and the legs roll away from each other to a comfortable distance. Find a spot on the ceiling to focus on. And then soften your gaze on that spot. Let the eyes soften. And let the eyes close. With the eyes closed, looking down through your bodies, if you can see down through your body to your feet. Hold your eyes in that position for 10 seconds. And then suddenly let the eyes go. Coming back to the breath, breathing in through the nose, back of the throat, down into the lungs, out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. And inhaling when you're ready. Nice, slow, deep breath. And exhaling with a sigh. Inhaling again. Once more. Start to wriggle the fingers and the toes. Bring some movement back to the body. And when you're ready, rolling over onto your right side. Pause there for a moment. And pushing yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. And pausing to notice how your body is feeling now. How the breath is feeling now. And how the mind is feeling now. Getting ready to close the practice by chanting 3 Oms. Inhaling for Om. And exhaling. Inhaling again. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Bring the palms of the hands into the chest. Rub the palms of the hands, create some heat in the hands. Once there's enough heat in the hands, place the palms of the hands over the eyes, looking into the palm. Bring them down over the face and the cheeks, throat and the neck. Rub the palms together again. Backs the hands, fingers and thumbs, wrists and forearms. Place the palms together again. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you for joining me for this practice.